Getting down to the nitty gritty here. What's preparation been like this week?
It's normal game preparation. You don't want to make it anything other than what it is. It's a game. On August 31st, it's our first game, so it's normal preparation. As coaches and as players, you just want to make sure that you're still in camp mode, right? You're still in camp mode, and we're starting to add in some stuff there for Auburn. But we're still in camp mode, and we'll get heavy into Auburn now on Sunday. Once we get to the week of the game, you never want to peak too soon. You don't want to over prepare and stuff like that, and make it boring for the players. So, like I said, we're half in Auburn right now, prep, and half into still working on ourselves on the University of Oregon.
What are those things that you're, I guess, still working on yourselves, and what are the things that you're working on for Auburn?
Technique, fundamentals, pad level. So that's always the technique, fundamentals, and pad level. That's something that's always offensive line. Men are always going to try to chase that, so that'll continue from now until the end of the season. So we're doing that, and then as far as Auburn's concerned, you try to do what they're doing schematically on defense. You try to prepare the players for it and stuff like that. Obviously, it's hard to replicate the physicality that they play with up front. It's hard to replicate the size that they got up front. So we do the best we can and move forward.
This is kind of the matchup as a line coach that you enjoy, because your offensive line's reputation, their defensive line's reputation.
I think I heard their D-line coach. I read something. He said, "Man, I wish people quit asking me about that." Same way here, and I'm sure the players are the same. They just want to go play. Good players playing good players. They got Derek Brown, they got Davidson, they got Coe. They got Big Cat Bryant, they got Mosley, they got those guys are great players, So our guys know they have a tremendous amount of respect for them for what they see on film, and it's going to be an honor for us to be on the field with them, and just put the ball down. Let's get after each other. Let's see what each other's got. Test each other out.
Jonah and Salah, how have they kind of been coming along over the last couple of weeks? You guys kind of like at that halfway point here before?
Oh, awesome. Salah's done a heck of a job of growing from the time he's a different football player from the time that he was in the spring till now, which is what you would expect. And Jonah's obviously just he's could still probably be in high school. So his progress, he's still got a ways to go. But you know what? They're both working. They're both willing to listen not only to the coaches but most importantly to the players. To be honest with you. And because those are the guys that they actually spend the most amount of time with, so you can see the growth, you can see the development in it. It's like in high school and stuff like that. You punch a guy in pass pro and he kind of tumbles and falls. In college, you better have your second, third, fourth answer to it, because that guy's going to keep coming with counter moves and stuff like that. So that's a process that Jonah's learning now. And Salah is just heightening his level of physicality, which he's done. He's done a heck of a job with that.
With the amount of returners that you guys have on that line, I'd imagine at this point it's got to be pretty clear who your starters are. I mean, is it sort of developing twos and threes here, rotating guys around? Can you play with that a little more, knowing that you have 5 kind of solid guys there?
Well, I think we have more than that. I think we have 8 or 9 solid, to be honest with you, in my opinion. So and those guys, they're there. They're competing against each other, right? To continue to make themselves better players. Us as coaches, we're constantly on them, and so that competition's still open now. There's not 5 set starters right now. There might be 2 or 3, but there's not 5. And as far as the second and the third, as a coach, that's what I get lost. There's no scoreboard in practice, so I get lost in watching a Salah develop and working and fixing the things that he did wrong the day before. On this day, on a Chris Randazzo, on a Dawson Jaramillo. So that's where coaches, this is our game day. Our game day is practice day. Our game day is not August 31st. On August 31st, that's their day. On Monday through Friday, that's our day as coaches. So to see their development and their productivity is awesome to see.
Knowing that you've got so many solid guys there, have you gotten really experimental at all? Have you maybe tried some things, moving tackles and guards?
Sometimes it's good not to screw up a good thing. So no, you always want you move them around to, okay, if this guy goes down in a game, who's next in? Because that's what you want to do as a coach. You don't want to put the next best right tackle in or the next left tackle. You want to put the next best guy. So you always want to try to have your 5 best on the field. So that's why you move them around, for real. I mean, you move around to do that. You also move around to keep them uncomfortable in terms of don't let them get complacent in one spot. And that's why, like last year, you had a kid like a Throckmorton that was able to play 4 spots. If you don't do that during the course of a practice, how are you going to know that? So you got guys like You got Throck's doing that now. You've got Alex Forsyth that's doing that for us. You got a Stephen Jones that's doing that for us, and that just allows us as coaches, hey, if this guy goes down, who's the next guy in to get you your next best fight.
A lot of your veteran players mentioned Forsyth as a guy that's just
Sure.
taken a big leap from where he
Yeah.
was last year.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him?
Oh man, he's awesome. Big Al's awesome. I mean, he's just tough. Everybody loves him because they respect him. He don't say nothing except come out and work. I mean, you know, so they really respect him. They respect the fact that he's just a grinder, and you can see his improvement. You can see his development, and he's a guy that we feel has a tremendous future here. Now, when I say future, that could be 2 weeks from now, it could be a year from now, but there's a high level of respect for him. You know, he's one of those guys that not a lot of people talk about, but the players know. And at the end of the day, when you have your veterans respect, you know you're doing the right things. And he's just tough, man. You know, a guy who answers the bell every day and is tough. And like I said, his future here is going to be great.
Bounces around from
Sure.
positions, but where would his base spot be?
You know what? Probably center guard. But you know what? Right now, he's played, except for center, actually, he's played every other spot in practice. You know, because he's extremely intelligent. He's got that mental capability to move around and it not be a big deal. Just like a Throckmorton. You know, they've got that mental ability to be able to do that. Not everybody does. Not everybody does, and he does. It doesn't bother him. And at the end of the day, you're talking a guy like Throckmorton, a guy like Alex Forsyth. They're great teammates. They're great teammates. They do what's best for the team, not what's best for them. So if you ever tell him, hey, Al, I'm going to need you to go left tackle. Yeah, coach, whatever. Yeah, that's his answer, which is what makes him a special kid.
Apologize, I'm sure this is competitive, Alex.
Sure.
The competition between Brady and Dallas, are you any closer to making a determination? Or
No, we're not, just because we have 10 days left, you know. So we're gonna milk it as coaches. We're gonna milk it as far as we can milk it, you know, to make sure that we get the next best guy in there, you know. So and there's a couple other guys in there as well, but and they're just competing. They're just competing. They're elevating their level of play, both of them, and you can see it. Which is so Coach Cristobal, myself, Coach Arroyo, we have a good issue. We have a good problem in our hands, we feel. So we're going to continue to push that, and that's going to happen. I mean, throughout the whole year, we feel.
every game is determined in the trenches, but this one in particular, it's certainly the marquee matchup is Year 5 against their front four.
Well,
what have you seen on tape?
Man, they're good now. I mean, they're good. The Brown kid, Davidson, Coe, Mosley, Bryant, and number 94, and I apologize, I don't know his name. I mean, he's tremendous players, really, really good football players, physical, you know, and that's the one thing I would hope both sides, you can't replicate that in practice. I mean, it's impossible. So that first play, they're going to feel something. We're going to feel something that we haven't felt, you know, and that's what we're trying to prepare them for. Trying to prepare them for that opponent, you know, that you haven't felt that. So, but tremendous amount of respect for them. Coach Gardner, their D-line coach, does a heck of a job with them. And like he said, I said it earlier, you know, I wish people would stop asking me about the offensive line. And I'm sure he wishes they'd stop asking me about the D-line. Let them go out and play. Let them go out and play because, you know, we want to be known as the best offensive line at the end of the year. Just like I'm sure they want to be known as the best defensive line at the end of the year, not at the beginning of the year. So that's something that it's a goal that we're working towards, but we're by no means there. I mean, we don't want to be paper champions, that's for sure.
As a coach, as a tactician of the position you are,
yes, sir.
Is there anything quite like watching film after the fact of a Lemieux against Derek Brown? I mean, you're talking about two All-American caliber, first-round caliber.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome seeing those guys, you know, guys like that go at it, you know, and just the competitive nature. But man, I'm telling you, that Coe kid's good, Davidson's good. Those guys are like, I mean, they're real. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for what we're watching on film. You know, but that's why you come to the University of Oregon. If you're a Shane Lemieux, a Throckmorton, a Hansen, and a Yellow, a Warmack, Penei Sewell, Stephen Jones, this is why you come to the University of Oregon, to play against opponents like that. You know, and here we've got an opportunity on August 31st. You know, so it'll be fun.
You said you had a lineup of 7 or 8 guys you felt like that were starters.
Yeah.
What's that number that you want for a game available?
You know what? In reality, if you can get 8, you're great. I mean, in most college, I mean, 10 is hard. 8 is a reality, which is what you shoot for, which is kind of like the NFL. You know, the NFL has 7, 8 guys. That's what you shoot for as a coach. You want 8 guys that you could feel can go in and compete and help you win a game. So that's really what you're shooting for. Obviously, if you get 9 or 10, man, that's gravy. That's awesome. So, but 8. I would say 8. 8's what you're shooting for.
Are you close to surpassing 8? You feel like, or
We're close.
We're close.
We're close. We're knocking on 9. We're knocking on 9. We feel we got 8 guys, you know, and what they don't have, some of those guys don't have game experience, and they got to go get game experience. Yeah.
Penei obviously established his freshman year that he's got a pretty high floor as a player. What is his development now going into year 2, and how close do you think he is toward reaching that next level?
You know what? He's getting there. The biggest thing that we've seen with Penei is he's become more vocal as a leader. You know, so now he's influencing others. You know, he's influencing others. He's not just now. It's not just him trying to improve himself. He's now, you see him branching out. You see him influencing others as a leader. You just see him. He's playing without blinders. We call it without blinders. He sees a lot. You know, he sees the bigger picture. Not just, hey, I got that guy. I got the 5 technique, or I got the 3 on this double team. Now he sees beyond that, which just happens with experience and with study, and he's gifted that way. I think we think he's gifted that way, where he can see a lot more than just what's in front of him.
Mario's talked about how different Kevin's defense is schematically compared to what you see in the Pac-12 on a day-to-day, especially with that buck position, how they can move between 3 and 4 man run, and really crazy. I know with like 70 ADBs, all kinds of stuff, exotics. How much more stress does that put on Jake and your guys to pre-snap reads is enormous every game.
Yeah.
In this game, because it's so different.
Well, you know, we get in the Pac-12, we get a lot of the odd front stuff, and you know, it's kind of almost you get the same flavor every week. You know, this is a different flavor that we have. He's multiple front guy. You know, Coach Steele, multiple front guy, and you know, he's got doesn't have to substitute to do it. You know, and that's the thing that makes it tough. So they can slide in and out of different fronts, in and out of different coverages and stuff like that without having the sub guys in. So that's what makes it tough. And you know, but he's and he obviously, any defensive coordinator, what they're trying to do is trying to mess with the center's identifications. Whether it's moving a guy from a 3 technique to a 5 or a 5 technique inside, they're just trying to mess with the center. Does the center have the glossary? Does he got the definition and the answer for that look? If he does, then he might. The coordinator go, okay, let me try the next one. You know, so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to challenge the center for that, and you know, so Jake's got his work cut out for him, and you know, we're working to get him prepped for it.
Last question. When Coach Mastro was out at Nevada and they were unveiling that pistol offense like 15, 16 years ago, do you remember like your first impressions like seeing that thing?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. You know, you're talking about him, Coach Alt. You know, that's cutting edge. You know, most college coaches, NFL, we're all copycats. We all do the same stuff, right? Well, these guys went out and created their own thing. You know, created that pistol alignment, and so it's awesome. You know, that we have a guy here who was at the forefront of that. You know, who's at the forefront of that. And heck, I was a high school coach when that stuff happened, and I remember reading about Jim Mastro and Chris Alt and stuff like that. So it's awesome that he's about 2 doors, 3 doors down from me, and kind of get the intricacies of what that offense is all about. You know, and it's the closest thing to the I formation that there is. You know, in today's college football, it's the closest thing to being in the I and getting that mentality and running the football. So it's real neat, and Jim's great about it. He shares about the inception of it and why they did it, and how they kind of expanded it.